What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why expert playing card company falls short in quality and feel, in my opinion. Anyway, that being said, this is Let's Talk About Cards episode 6. Let's go! Before we do get into this Let's Talk About Cards episode, I would kindly ask you to subscribe if you want to support me and the channel, and leave a like if you feel like that as well. Anyway, let's move on and get to what we're talking about today. Anyway, guys, you guys probably know already about expert playing card company in general. They've become more well known, not for necessarily their decks, but for the designs. They do have very interesting and cool designs, such as this design, the Oculus playing cards. One of the first decks I actually ever bought. And yeah, they have very cool designs, but the stock for me just is subpar compared to other companies, and we'll get to that later. But I really just want to talk about my opinions on the brand and the way they print their cards in general. That being said, I really do not like to bash companies and products and things like that, because that's somebody else's hustle and hard work and determination to design and make playing cards, which I have not yet done. So therefore, I cannot necessarily critique someone else's work, but I do feel, just as my opinion, that I am allowed to in this scenario, and let me explain. I believe it is fairly well known that expert is genuinely not great for cardistry. Me being a cardist, I have to agree with this, just because of the way they're plasticky and just the way they handle overall really hurts your hands because they're really hard, even if they have a broken in deck. But as I said before, I normally don't like to bash companies, and I actually really like a lot of their designs, but if that was printed on like a United States playing card, crush stock, some of them I would have bought in a break. But yeah, let's switch angles, and I'll just give you a quick rundown and comparison of what I feel are good EPCC decks versus expert playing card decks, and I'll kind of show you the differences. Okay guys, so I'm going to grab a few decks that I believe will be a pretty good comparison. I'll grab some EPCC decks and some Cardamundi decks, just to give you a nice comparison versus Cardamundi and why I feel they aren't that great. There's a reason I only owned 5 of them, and most of these I thought actually weren't expert. But yeah, so we have the Oculus deck. This is the first deck I ever reviewed, the second video ever on this channel. It's super cringy. You can go watch it if you want. It is just horrendous. This deck is horrendous. It's only good for... The one thing I will say is these decks are very good for packet cuts. Next deck is a mystery deck I got called the Vitreous deck. Nothing super great about it. This deck is a deck I actually bought recently, knowing it was by expert, just because I wanted some jet setters. Again, pretty subpar cards. They look cool though, so that's another deck. This deck is the X deck. Funny story, I thought this was the X deck by Alexander Pandrea. Then I looked it up, and I was sad because I'm a bonehead and I didn't realize it. But yeah, another expert deck. And then this was a free deck, so I can't complain, actually. Given to me by Henry at SoCal Playing Cards. Buy stuff from him a lot here recently though. Pretty good dude. Really awesome guy. But yeah. Again, another subpar deck that I've been playing around with a lot. So I think we're going to take a look at the least used decks of these, which would be these two. These decks are still pretty much brand new. I've opened them both within the last 4 days, and they are both in very good quality. Okay, so we're going to take these over to the side, and the other decks we will be comparing to them are, we're going to say, these two. So I actually opened both of these yesterday just to play around with. These are some of the newer decks I got. These are the Kingslayers. Thank you, Thomas, again. These are the Kingslayers by Illusionist, printed by Cardamundi, manufactured in Belgium. These are the Keepers, also by Illusionist, but these are printed in the United States by the United States Playing Card Company. So both Illusionist decks, but both different companies, Cardamundi and EPCC, versus these two. So I think we're going to go these two versus these two, and then we'll just do a quick comparison. So we're going to move these over here, and first we're just going to bust open the Jet Setter playing cards. Not dissing on them, because I'm going to end up buying the new ones. The teal version, I believe. I just think those look pretty cool. But yeah, so the cards actually, they're not terrible, but what I have found in experience with these is they get very clumpy very fast, and I'll show you an older deck. And the plasticky feel of the cards really just makes it not a great experience for cardistry.
But that is just my opinion. If you have a different one, please let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the company in general. But yeah, the cards feel very hard, and I've even tried to break these in, and just the finish they use, in my opinion, is just subpar compared to other companies. But yeah, it's not a terrible deck because it's new, but I'll show you a deck that I've used consistently just to try and break it in, and just how bad the quality has gotten. But yeah, not a bad deck by any means, but not something I would use as an everyday carry. Moving on, actually here, we'll put these away right quick just to keep a little bit of, gosh, what is the word? Keep a little bit of organization. I had a brain fart there, I'm sorry. There's a reason people like my videos, I don't know why. But moving on, this is the Illusionist deck by, the Kingslayer's deck by Illusionist. What am I saying? These are extra cards. Yeah. So this is printed on their Slimline B7 stock, I think. Their Slimline, yeah. I think it's the same stock they printed these two decks on, the mono decks. Really excited for Luke Wade's new one too. But yeah, really awesome deck. It just feels way better. It's much thinner than the other expert decks, if you can tell. But yeah, in my opinion, just a much better feeling deck. The cards are thinner. They feel just really, really nice. But yeah, they feel really good. No complaints about them whatsoever. And yeah, just a really cool design as well. But we can't really talk about design because Expert has very cool designs. We're talking about quality. All right, guys, we are going to move on to the next comparison. Okay, guys, so as I said before, these are both relatively new decks. I opened this one yesterday. I opened this one 2 days ago, so they're both in still very good condition. So also, I will be taking a look at here. Actually, we'll look at an expert deck that I love. One of the very few occasions when this actually happens. So these are pretty old, so it might not be a completely fair experience, which is why I wanted to test the other ones. But one of the only expert decks that I actually like are the modern feel Jerry's Nuggets, because they're very thin. Yeah, these still handle very well, actually. But I cannot rave enough about these cards, actually. They're really nice. But yeah, I know I'm kind of changing tunes, but all in all, this is the only brand of cards that I've ever liked that they've done. I've halfway tempted to sell all my other expert decks except the Jet Setters ones, just because they're kind of neat. But yeah, actually really like this deck. But in terms of quality, what I carried every day, maybe it gets a little clumpy. Granted, these cards are about a month old, or I've had them for longer than that, but I've only had them open for about a month or so. But yeah, not bad deck at all. But we're gonna compare it to we can compare it to the other EPCC deck. Granted, that deck was opened yesterday. This deck was opened a month ago, so this deck's already broken in. But yeah, for me personally, I don't think I'll ever find a better deck of cards than like thin crush stock, or just probably just normal crushed, not necessarily thin, because that's a little too thin in my opinion. But I don't think these are thin crushed. If they are, let me know. These are the Keepers by Illusionist, but these are printed by United States Playing Card Company, and obviously they're going to feel better than the other ones because they're newer, but you get the idea. In my opinion, I just like the quality and the way they feel more than the expert deck. Granted, the expert deck is good, but in my opinion, I would have to say United States Playing Card Company takes the cake over Cardamundi and Expert. But yeah, again, this is just my opinion, so please let me know what you think down in the comments below. But yeah, just these feel way better, even though they're new, so you're gonna give it a little slack. But here, let's actually go ahead and look at that other X deck I got. That I just opened 2 days ago. So since it'll be a fair comparison, you can see how kind of that one goes as well. Let's put these back, and then let's get this one out. So yeah, this deck is not terrible, but I'll show you in a second what they look like after about a month of use. So yeah, the cards riffle well, and I mean, you can do packets with them and everything, but the way they feel is just really plasticky. They even kind of smell a little plasticky. I don't know what they do to make their cards like this, but they're really just not good in the long run for cardistry. They're fine for now, but if I played with these consistently like all day, you would see the results, which I'll show you in a second. But yeah, it just doesn't feel as good. They definitely feel subpar compared to Cardamundi and United States Playing Card Company decks. Yeah, I think I'm still standing by my consensus here. Definitely. All right, so let's take a look at a very used Expert Playing Card Company deck versus a very used United States Playing Card Company deck. Alright guys, as I was saying before, here are the two decks we're going to be taking a look at. The Fultons, Pink Fultons, by United States Playing Card Company, printed on Everything Crushed, and this is the Oculus deck by Expert Playing Card Company. So yeah, these are both used decks that I've talked about earlier. I've used these quite a lot, and these just feel horrendous. They're not a deck I would want to use. They barely riffle fan. We can see how they do in a fan. Not great, you know. The only thing I will say is they are good for packet cuts because they're so clumpy. Well, yeah, like if I tried to do like an under pressure, it's very difficult, and they just feel really nasty. Then you compare that to a very used United States Playing Card Company deck. They still riffle fan fairly well. You can do packet cuts with them. And you can still do a very nice under pressure. But yeah, I just think the quality is better on United States Playing Card Company as a whole. I don't know what that was. But yeah, then again, just my opinion, so let me know what you guys think down in the comments below.
Alright guys, that's about all the time I have left for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what your opinions are about Expert Playing Card Company down in the comments below. And I'll see you on the next one. Anyway, I'm the Wooden Cardist, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.